like something more geeky or whatever. I think when I was 12 is when I jumped into Lord of the Rings, and
Okay.
like I read that a couple times.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Like it just grabbed you and you love the
I
story.
I did, yeah.
How do you think it compares to The Hobbit in terms of, because I'm sure you've read The
Uh,
Hobbit too.
The Hobbit's really good. It's tonally quite different though, right? Like the Hobbit is I think he wrote it more as like a
It's a kid's
it
story.
was more aimed for kids or something, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
well, because it was because he and C.S. Lewis were contemporaries,
Yeah.
and I don't know if they were close friends. I think they were friends, but I think they were both. I don't know if they went to Oxford or Cambridge, but obviously they traveled in the same circles. They were both, I think they were both Catholic, or they at least they were both Christian. They were both religious.
Yeah.
So although Lewis made his stuff was a lot more directly, I think, biblically inspired, like Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, whereas I think Tolkien used. I don't know if he infused his faith into his storytelling as much as far as just like he didn't make it an allegory for religion as
No,
much as C.S.
I
Lewis
don't
did.
think he intended to. I think some people read into it that way, but that wasn't his intention. He wanted to build up his own mythology, right? And so
Yeah.
he took like things from all like dramatic roots and everything like that, and he just kind of came up with his own take on it, right?
Yeah, well, I think because he studied history and literature and English literature in when he went to college or university, as they
Yeah.
call it. And that's why I feel like his stuff, or at least Lord of the Rings, was such a it's a lot. There's a lot more to it than people might think if they read it.
Yeah, it's massive. And I don't know, I like Tolkien. Like he was brilliant. The fact that he created at least two different languages,
Yeah,
for his stories and everything like that, like Quenya and Sindarin, and he just came with writing scripts and all that, like fully fleshed out so many details and all that. Just made it feel like a real world. Like I don't know, like he put so much thought into it. It was really impressive.
have you read the Silmarillion?
I have.
And
That one is
it's
tricky.
hard, yeah, because that one's actually a complex read. It's because he actually it's like he created the beginning of the universe for that world. So you
Yeah.
have these deity figures, I forgot what the like they're his, what they call like God or whatever in that. But then he created how like there's your angel, your kind of your top, like Morgoth, I think was supposed to be the devil essentially, or
Yeah.
because he revolts against, and then Sauron is his, and then you have like
His minion, yeah.
and then the wizards are kind of the
They're like
higher
sub-tier
angels. Yeah,
angels.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have your higher angels, and then your wizards are your kind of lower angels that
Mhm.
take a real that actually go. So, and that's the thing, the universe is so rich in regards to what he did, and I think that's why. That's one of the reasons I mean, he had a glossary or an index in the back of Lord of the Rings, even when he was first published it, so you could actually be able to reference things.
Yeah, which is amazing.
So,
And just having the chronology and everything, like, the appendices are just insane.
mhm.
There's details about all the different cultures, there's like maps, and then just having the chronology of the entire world laid out, what happened during that age, what happened afterwards, after the main characters, like the curtains close.
Yeah.
um it's nice just seeing all that like fully fleshed out.
Well,
The Silmarillion was fantastic, but oh man, that was such a difficult read.
it is.
It's dense.
It is. Like
That's the only way I can describe it. It's just dense. Like you could literally take like two chapters from that book and make it a full-on movie or TV show or something. There's just so much happening in there.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's almost
Oh, that would be amazing. I hope that would happen someday.
yeah, well, because there's so many stories in it that he it's like mentions a little bit here, a little bit there, and I don't know if the Rings of Power took anything from Silmarillion, because I haven't
They
seen
weren't
it.
allowed.
Really?
They weren't allowed. They don't have the rights to the Silmarillion. And
Oh.
so it's strange to me because Amazon wanted to make a Lord of the Rings show. I don't know, Bezos is like super into it or something, but they don't have the rights to the Silmarillion. Silmarillion's mostly about the First Age, so that's okay. It's only the last bit of the book that has like the Second Age stuff, which is what Ring of Power is all about. But they really only have the rights to the information in the appendix in Lord of the Rings
Oh, that's
and the
interesting.
material in that book.
Well,
So
and
that's not a lot.
I guess that makes sense now why, because a lot of the stuff I read about it was like, this isn't Tolkien. This is there were a lot of criticisms that have been levied against it because they feel like it doesn't follow Tolkien's, I want to say, essence or what he did. But now that you told me that he didn't, which I mean, it's got to be the family then that didn't give him that didn't give Amazon the rights to do it.
I think somebody else owns the right.
Well, I thought it would be his son, but I don't know. But if his son is
Yeah.
still alive, I think Chris Tolkien was his son. But yeah, it's. Well, and I feel like the problem though is that because again, I think the films set the bar so high.
They did.
Like, and I didn't see the Hobbit films just because they looked too fake, like too much CG in them.
I couldn't get into them. I wanted to, but part of me was just like, are you seriously making 3 movies out of one book? Like, what is happening here? Right. It felt greedy.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Yeah, and then I did eventually try. I'm like, oh, I should give it a shot. I do love The Hobbit, but I think I noped out halfway through the first movie and I was just like, I just don't know.
I really wish, because that Guillermo del Toro was originally going to direct them.
Oh,
So it was going to be just 2 films, 2-hour films, I think, with Guillermo del Toro. That would have been perfect, probably. And del Toro, I imagine, would have made it like it wouldn't have looked like Jackson's. It would have looked like del Toro's films. But
that's
no, but that's fine. And which I just think that because I think that what the Hobbit films did, it did really feel a lot more like okay, this stretching this story out and having to pad it with so much. And whereas Lord of the Rings, they couldn't have everything because there was so much in that book.
Even with the extended editions, like 4 hours per movie, they still couldn't fit everything.
No. So, all right. So I want to ask, because you're like a big fantasy nerd then. You love fantasy stuff, or are you more into sci-fi?
I'm more into sci-fi now.
Okay.
I think, like in my teens and everything, I slowly started to get more into, sci-fi things.
Okay.
I like both now, but like I am skewed more to sci-fi.
Okay. So then I'll quickly say, what do you prefer, Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter?
Lord of the Rings, easy.
Okay. Well, yeah, because a lot of people that tends to be the primary comparison, I guess, because I think I don't think it's fair because I think that they were written in such different times and they were written differently. So, whereas, because the way I see it is that Lord of the Rings was a book that was written for adults that kids ended up liking, and Harry Potter was a book written for kids that adults ended up liking.
Yeah,
is kind of how I see it. So,
I think that's right.
And nothing against J.K. Rowling. I know that she created this universe. But I don't think she created it to the depth that Tolkien did. Like Tolkien spent 20 years on Lord of the Rings, I think.
Even after he published it, he was still like kind of revising and tweaking his notes and everything like that too, right?
Yeah.
Like he's got journals all over the place. So much thought put into it.
Yeah.
And Rowling, she created a good world, but she did not fully flesh it out. I don't know. She's not nearly as strong as a writer for sure.
Well, what I think, I wish that there was more in Harry Potter than just England. Like it seems like it's only in England. Like I'd like to know what the rest of the world was like. I mean, what are American wizards like? What are, what are wizards like in different parts of the world? Because obviously it can't just be Europe that they've got.
No,
them.
It's not. And she filled some of that out afterwards because people were asking. But again, she didn't put a lot of thought into it. And a lot of people were very upset with the decision she made. Like, I can't remember all the details, but it did make a lot of sense. And some of it had like racist undertones and everything too. So it was just like, it should have just left it alone. I don't know.
Well, it seems like, I think she just had a book that came out too. But yeah, because again, those were super big fantasy franchises that were kind of big at around the same time.